Hey there, so today I want to do something different. Today I want to talk about why Gail Simone owes me $1. Now this is Twitter drama. If you do not like that kind of stuff, you can just set this one out. Come back tomorrow, we'll have a positive video on comic books. However, if you do like comic books, I'm going to say that I would suggest that you stay in for this. The reason for that is because a lot of people think consummate professional when they think about comic book creators. You think about an industry that values you as a consumer. Well, these people, by and large, do not value you. In fact, if you have a disagreement, if you have an idea that does not run true to form with what they think, then they'll call you all kinds of things. They will disparage you. It is the ugliest stuff I've ever seen. And sometimes you have to look at that and question why you would give your money to that medium. So with that said, let's begin. Now, if you don't know who Gail Simone is quite the prolific writer. She's in fact been responsible for a really good run on Batgirl, in my opinion, and I really like the Megalopolis line. There was Leaving and Surviving. They were Kickstarter titles, and I thought that they were good superheroes gone mad stories. Now, if you look Gail Simone up on Twitter, what you're going to do is find an account that looks very professional at first. You're going to find something that talks about her being the writer of whatever. She's going to probably have a pinned post about whatever she's working on. But if you dig a little further, you're going to find that she actually mixes professionalism, what she should be doing under that account, if she's talking about, say, being the writer of Batgirl and what have you, with personal tastes like politics and pandering, identity politics. Now, within all of that, you're going to find conversations and retweets from this in-group, this crowd of insulated professionals that basically they talk together, they have the same sort of politics, and they adopt the same type of identity. Sometimes it gets rather ugly too. They've basically decided that certain fans, they're not worthwhile. They're not worthy. If you have certain opinions, if you're a certain color, a certain race, you have problems with them saying things like males can't be raped. You're Republican. They don't like you. Sometimes they make it well known. Now, Gail is not the hugest offender there, but she does talk about some things and retweet some things that are very controversial, and that's how this started. She retweeted something from Alex DeCampi. So if you don't know who Alex DeCampi is responsible for certain things like Archie versus Predator, for a little bit of Judge Dredd, and a few things here and there. DeCampi, for me, is more well known from Twitter than as anything within comic books, because DeCampi likes to say things that are really off the cuff. There are some quite ugly things that come from her that really strike me as racist. Those type of things that you know somebody means as identity-laden, but when you look at them, you think, man, that is really horrible. Well, there's DeCampi. So the message DeCampi decided to put up, and that Gail Simone decided was worth retweeting, is as follows. So you've been targeted by alt-right comic trolls, a thread. Now remember to these people that dissenting opinion means alt-right comic troll. For me, I'm not a conservative. I work with people with social programs. I actually believe in universal health care. There's all these different things. I do charity work, but hey, I disagree with them online. Therefore, I'm alt-right. Now when you're reading this, you tell me who sounds like alt-right. You can totally get through this. There are very few of them, and their tactics are pretty pathetic and transparent. So the first thing she talks about is a Twitter blockchain. Now she's talking about, again, as a professional, she's saying that you should block tens of thousands of comic book fans. Now in today's industry, the best-selling comic book for the whole year was 300,000 comics, and many comic books fall in 30,000 or even below. So think of how many people that you're really saying, I don't bother with you because, again, my pandering, it's more important than my profit. Here with Mute or Block, your choice is your friend. Hit EVS. They're talking about Ethan Van Sciver. If you don't know him, he is the heavy hitter responsible for a lot of Green Lantern. He is basically one of the best DC creators right now, but he's Republican, so oh well. Order diversity in comics and you're good. Personally, I just mute. More fun to leave these losers whining into the void, but up to you. Now in the next part, she's talking about settings. What she's talking about is if you have a new account, you haven't changed your profile photo, or you haven't confirmed your email, hey, you're not worth her time. You know, she's saying that it's a new account, that all new accounts are trolls. Now, kinds of trolls. First, there's the combative, answer me right now troll. Oh, honey, I don't even answer my mother right now. I don't owe you mute. Now, when you look at that, you know, things like this, they're going to bring out people. They're going to be combative because of the next part. Let's look at that. The blackface troll. Oh, they have 5 followers, a new account. As a black, queer, Latino person, bye-bye. So this white lady decides who actually fits the person of color type. They decide whether or not you're black, you're queer, you're Latino. So your identity in any form, they've decided. If you go on there, you disagree with them, nope, that's not you. You don't count. Bye-bye. Next part, the you're racist troll, as in you're racist against white people. I think I'm going to do my nails. I like this red shade. It's called the blood of my enemies. You know, more like it's called when you talk about white, straight males and you talk garbage about them, that's racist. People may tell you that it's not, but the little group that you're in, they are not reality. Reality is that racism is racism, period. There's no formulary to it. When you start adding a formulary, you're making excuses for really bad thinking. Now, the concern troll. As a longtime fan of yours, I'm shocked to find out you're at SJW anti-white. Again, the anti-white thing. You notice that comes up there. So we have the blackface troll, the anti-white. You can see that this person is a racist. They come across as one. Baby, pull the other one. It's got bells on. See you in Mutesville. Population U. You know, that comes across really well. Also, you know, when you see a person that you really enjoy and you find out they're terrible to people online, it's bothersome. You want to keep buying their books, but man, I mean, sometimes you find out the hard way about them. When I found out that people were like this online, I have to say that it was very depressing for me. I got angry, but I tried to really go through these stages of grief. If you look at it, there's anger in there, there's bartering. You're basically trying to talk sense into people, but they're not going to be sensical. So the reason that I noticed Gail Simone posted this at all is because I was thinking about buying Surviving Megalopolis again. So when I noticed that, I thought, that's really bad, and I wanted to think about it. So I got up this morning, and when I did, I noticed that Gail Simone and some friends were talking about John Malin. Now, John Malin, he works on cable. He's worked on other projects too, and he is also a Republican in the industry. Now, he made a statement about the X-Men the other day that has caused quite the controversy. I'm going to put this up here. It said, X-Men are closer to Jews in SJW Hitler's Germany, fighting for freedom because they see ideologues rising, silencing them, weaponizing hate, racism, and socialism against the people they claim are the root of social ills. SJWs are not Nazis, but Nazis are SJWs, and X-Men aren't SJWs. Now, within that, I can kind of agree with that. It is also about comic books, but it does cross that line for me with professionalism. I'm trying to be very fair with this, and I think that that's not a good thing to put up either. But when I saw Gail Simone talking about that, I thought, man, the hypocrisy in this statement. So I decided that I would comment on it. So the chain of comments that I'm responding to is something I sadly can't show you because I had to go to work when this stuff started kicking off, and when I got home, well, hey, it's not there because the person that they were talking to blocked me. Of course, that is Twitter, but especially comics Twitter, because anyone that is involved with talking to a creator, especially if they're creators themselves, they love to block people because they hate money. But the last comment there is one that's talking about Malin here. They're talking about him having a Patreon. They're pretty much bad-mouthing him there. She said, I'll add that coherence seems to be a low priority for this last guy. So I decided to respond. I said, thanks, Gail. By the way, your repost on quote-unquote alt-right trolls, the part where you're endorsing the removal of someone's opinion when people post this as concerned trolling or their identity as blackface trolling really says something. But hey, that guy, am I right? You know, I'm talking about Malin again because that's exactly what they're on. So before putting up a response, I want to say one of two things is transpiring here. Number one, she's trying to throw shade, and she's not really good at it. That could very well be it because she fails miserably so often. If you look at her cringy jokes online, they're so awful. I mean, it really makes me want to eat paint chips sometimes. They're so bad. Or she actually decided to repost one of her ideologue buddies, and she really doesn't know what I'm talking about. Now, either way, remember again, I am a customer there. So she decides to say, I will give you $1 to put together a coherent thought. Bet I get to keep my dollar. Well, I hate to tell you, but I put together a coherent thought, so I want my dollar. Ooh, burn. Let's go a little slower then. You reposted that Alex DeCampi tripe about alt-right trolls. You know, where she removes people's identities with types of trolls under blackface trolls or concerned trolls. You endorse that, but that guy, what's the difference? So after leaving, quite a few things transpire throughout the day. I'm not going to get into all that. I really just wanted to make a point on how these people, they see someone as bad because they think it's offensive, but they don't mind offending a customer base. But I want to leave you with a post put up by DMI. Now remember, DMI is somebody that owns a comic book shop, so he's talking as an owner here. He knows, please don't talk to paying customers like this. If you have something to say and you don't agree with them, why don't you just DM them? They're talking about direct messaging. Why put them on blast with all of your 100,000 plus followers to see? As a store owner, you literally cost me money every time this stuff happens. Now, Simone's response to that is, did you post a similar message to John Malin, who posted that all SJWs need to get out of comics? Because I don't see such a message on your timeline. Also, where's your store, please? Now, you have to really ask about that. Is she asking him to validate his existence as a store? Prove that you're a store owner. Is that part of the Alex DeCampi method? Because she comes back and says later on that she likes to really retweet and give praise to comic shops. But she's also the type of person that said you basically have to prove yourself to me via that retweet. So I'm going to leave it at that. You owe me $1. Thanks.